Scott McClellan is on his book tour. He's going around. Letterman has him on his show, right? And Letterman let the Bush administration have it. He let Cheney and Bush have it more than I've seen anyone else on TV do it. And furthermore, he had the best interview with Scott McClellan of anybody else. To the point where I think Letterman's going over the top. I'm not sure I even agree with him. Let's watch, and then I'll come back and talk about it.
This policy had been decided just a couple of months after we went into Afghanistan after 9/11.
Is Cheney is he a goon? Is that I mean, I don't mean that to be like a smartass, but I mean, he seems like he might be a goon.
He's quite an interesting guy. He has a very dark view of the world, and he certainly believes that some of the means justify the ends. Right. And this president showed him way too much deference, I think, in terms of carrying out policies, whether it was detainee policies or energy policy or policies relating to the war. So,
in deferring to Cheney, was it because he's intellectually lazy? Is that why he would defer to Cheney?
Well, there certainly is a little bit of lack of intellectual curiosity on the part of the president. I mean, he's a gut-instinct player. He doesn't like to sit around and debate policy. He likes to govern from the gut and make his decisions and then go from there. So that is something that I talk about in the book as well.
Now, was it on your watch that Cheney shot his hunting buddy?
It was. And it sprayed me, too.
Now, what is that like? I don't think you have to go back to Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr the last time a vice president shot somebody.
It was something I could never have predicted when I became press secretary. And you go down a list of things, that was not one on them.
Were they forthcoming with you?
No, he wasn't. The vice president prefers that, in terms of the press, well, just no comment. He doesn't have much regard for the press corps. I was actually advocating, we got to get this information out now to the National Press Corps, do a phone call. He was down in Corpus Christi, and he took my advice and then called the Christi Caller-Times, gave it to them on their website, and said the National Press Corps can find it there. Yeah. And for 3 days, I had to go out there and take my own bullets from that. Before he went on TV and clarified it.
Did the people in the talk to every day, did they like you? Do they have respect for you?
Actually, when I went through the very difficult period when it was out in the Valerie Plame leak episode that something I had said was false, unknowingly so. I'd been misled by 2 advisors to the president. Some of the press were my strongest defenders during that time. The White House counsel said, you can't comment, it's an ongoing investigation. And the press corps actually on TV and said, he's a straight shooter, his credibility is unquestioned, and so I appreciated that. It shows the relationship that we had.
My feeling about Cheney and also Bush, but especially Cheney, is that he just couldn't care less about Americans. The same is true with George Bush. And all they really want to do is somehow kiss up to the oil people so they can get some great annuity when they're out of office. And there you go, Dick, nice job. There's a couple of billion for your trouble. And he pretty much put Halliburton in business and the outsourcing of the military resources to private mercenary groups and so forth. I mean, is there any humanity in either of these guys?
Look, I still have personal affection for the president. I can't speak to presidents thinking that well because he's someone who keeps things to himself and he believes his way and he doesn't care what anybody else thinks. He's going to do it the way he feels is best, and that's not always what's in the best interest of the country, as we've seen.
You told me backstage you thought he was a goon.
I tell you what, man, that was hard hitting. Letterman wasn't playing. I don't think that's getting enough play out there. Letterman doesn't care about the American people, talking about Bush and Cheney, kept calling Cheney a goon. Let me agree and disagree. First, I agree pretty much on the goon part, right? Cheney is this guy who is secretive, as McClellan explained, and the reason, by the way, to get into the specifics of what he said for a second there, the reason that Cheney didn't let the national press know about the shooting was because he didn't want to talk to the cops, and he told the cops to come back 18 hours later because he was trying to sober up. I mean, let's get real. Let's call it what it is, right? There's a reason why Cheney keeps everything secret, because his plans are kind of evil, or as Letterman would say there, kind of goonish. And Halliburton did increase greatly, of course, because of the wars that Cheney helped to start. No question about any of that. But believe it or not, I actually think Letterman is more to the left than I am on this, and I think that Bush and Cheney do care in their own mind about the American people. I think they think the ends justify the means, and they think nobody else gets it, man. We're the only ones who understand it and are willing to do the tough things that are necessary to protect the American people. Now, it's not a binary thing. It's not either they think that or they think, I don't give a damn about the American people and I just want to make more money. It's somewhere in between. They want to make more money for Halliburton, and they think, and they've convinced themselves that this is what's right for the American people. So they got to sleep at night, man. Even the most evil dudes in the world got to justify to themselves somehow. I'm doing it for my family. I'm doing it for the country. Other people don't understand, et cetera, et cetera. And I think in Cheney's twisted mind, he thinks we have to have the oil. And nobody else understands that if the oil is running out and demand is going up because of China and India, et cetera, if we don't have boots on the ground in the Middle East, that's going to really hurt our geopolitical situation. Now, I think he's dead wrong, and he went about it the wrong way. But in his mind, I think he thinks, I'm doing this for the American people. And Bush, in his silly, stupid little mind, I mean, McClellan even says it there, he doesn't really think through issues. He acts from the gut. What does that mean? That means he's an idiot, right? He doesn't want to bother figuring out what the real answers are. So he does this excuse, I'm doing it from the gut. That means I don't want to think about it, right? And so, but in Bush's mind, if you said to him, are you for or against the American people, he would be perplexed by that question. He'd say, of course, I'm doing all this for the American people. Now, of course, he's lying to himself a lot, and he's doing it for his own ego and for his own, place in history. That's why he doesn't want to get out of Iraq, no matter how many people get killed, because it's about his agenda and his legacy. So it's a mixed bag. So I wouldn't even go as far as Letterman at all, actually, on the last things that he said. But I love him for saying it, man. And I love that somebody out there is fighting a good fight and actually talking about reality of what Cheney and Bush are about and what they've done to this country. And McClellan pretty much agreed with him. That was an interesting interview. Nicely done.